guys, I'm Lizzie. I was asked to do a video on how to get speed out of your horse without whipping or kicking. And because I used to really struggle on getting speed out of Stella in the arena, this is a video I've been wanting to make for a while. I don't think that whipping or kicking your horse is okay to do at a standstill. I don't think anybody thinks it's okay to whip and kick your horse if they're just standing there. So I don't think it should also be okay to whip and kick your horse while they are galloping. Seriously, I don't understand that. If somebody was whipping or kicking their horse at a standstill, they'd be called abusive. But if somebody was whipping and kicking their horse while they're galloping, then it's perfectly okay and the horse doesn't feel it. So, because I have a problem with that, I thought I should share the tricks that I've learned with Stella that really aren't tricks at all. It's just a different perspective or mindset about the whole thing. So back when I started doing speed events with Stella, I was really struggling to get speed out of her. Especially in the arena, she would kind of just become sluggish and didn't really have a reason to try, didn't really know what we were doing. We didn't have any motivation, anticipation to get us to, have energy. I really struggled and I was trying everything. I even at one point was playing around with kicking to see how she would react to that, if it would actually work. And I tried it for like a couple strides and I could immediately tell that she hated it and was even making her go slower. So I cut it out immediately. I would normally resort to a crop or some sort of whip or something. I tried to avoid actually cracking it on her. I would just use it as a threat, basically. And that seemed to work better than kicking. But I felt really stumped and I was doing a ton of research trying to find a video kind of like this where somebody was showing or explaining that you can get speed out of your horse without abusing them, basically. And I really didn't find a lot to help me. I did find a couple things that I incorporated into our training routines that seemed to really help, but overall it was kind of more of it was something you have to train. Like, I realized that getting speed is no different than training your horse to back up, walk, trot. It is something that you train. It's not something that they automatically know how to do. It's not something like you whip and kick your horse and they automatically know that that means go faster. But it doesn't seem like it's really taught, and beginners and intermediates and even more experienced riders don't seem to understand that getting your horse to have speed is something that we have to train them to do, and it's not something that they automatically know or understand, and that whipping and kicking is not the answer and like the automatic button that you push that makes it work. So let's evaluate, simplify, and take this back to the basics. When you are first teaching your horse how to walk, when you're teaching them to walk forward, you use some sort of pressure, whether you bump with your heels, you squeeze, you swing with a whip or something. You're using a little bit of energy. And as soon as the horse takes a step forward, we release that energy because that's telling the horse that that was the right thing. We made them a little uncomfortable. They did the right thing. We take the pressure off. They relax. They might go back to a stop and we apply the pressure again. And we continue to apply the pressure. They take a step, we release, they probably stop, we do it again. And eventually they'll realize that walking takes away the pressure. You don't continue to hold on to the pressure and keep that energy up when your horse is already doing the right thing, because we want them to know that they did the right thing by releasing that energy. If you do continue to hold that energy and keep the pressure on the horse when they're walking, and then you release and then they stop and we allow that stop, we're training them that when the pressure comes off, they stop. So that's basically opposite training. And you're making it harder for yourself because now you have to keep up all this energy and the pressure on them. Otherwise, they'll stop as soon as you stop. So what we really want is to be able to teach them to walk off of pressure and to be able to continue walking even after we take the pressure off. And if they stop, the pressure comes back on, they walk, the pressure goes away. Again, if you continue to keep that pressure on them when they're walking, and then when you take the pressure off, that means they stop. That means you have to continue holding on that pressure and continue kicking, continue whipping, to keep them moving, and then you can finally, stop, and then they go, I can stop. It's exhausting for both of you. So it's really easiest if you train them to walk and then take off the pressure. If they stop, apply the pressure again, take it off when they start walking, and continue. It's basically the same principle when you want them to do anything, whether it's a walk, trot, canter, if it's a sideways, if it's a backup, if it's a move their hindquarters, move their front feet, bend, whatever it is. It's always going to be apply pressure, they do the right thing, you take it off. So it should be the same thing when you are galloping, running really fast, competing, whatever it is. So if you are training your horse that when you stop kicking, they stop, you're basically opposite training. Obviously, that can be applied to getting your horse to have speed, but it's not the only thing. Obviously, it's still confusing and difficult because that means you have to continue to put pressure on your horse if you need them to go faster, and they're not going fast enough, so you have to continue putting pressure on them, and it's a lot of work, and you know, I've been there. So there are a couple other things that I like to incorporate into our sessions or exercise routines, whatever you want to call it, that have really helped us get a little bit more speed and drive. Now, it really helps, and you really want your horse to have motivation, to be motivated to go forward. If you have to push your horse the whole way, it's going to be exhausting and you're not going to get the speed that you want. You want your horse to be enthusiastic and have energy. Now, obviously, easier said than done. But what really helps motivate a horse is anticipation. And there are some horses, like this one, that develop a lot of anticipation. If you do something that's somewhat repetitive with your horse, like learning the barrel pattern, or going for the same trail ride for the 3rd day in a row, or doing some pole exercise work, they'll obviously start learning and anticipating and memorizing this pattern and start going at it with a little bit more enthusiasm or know-how, with confidence, because they know where to go now, they know what's going to happen, they know they get a treat at the end of the walk. Something motivates them because they know what they're doing now. So anticipation can be really helpful, or it can be really annoying, because like with Stella, she anticipates the barrel pattern, but now she's cutting corners really sharp because she's, you know, trying to get a little bit ahead of me, wanting to get it done faster, which I like the enthusiasm, but you have to also break things up and change things up so that she's not getting a little too confident and, you know, carried away. But the more she's confident and understands and anticipates what's going to happen next, she's going to be a lot more enthusiastic and give me a lot more energy while we do something like barrel racing. So what also helps with creating anticipation is to give them something to motivate them, or something to look forward to that makes them want to hurry up, basically, if you're trying to get speed, obviously. So that brings me to my next point, is that it's really important not to overdo your workouts, to overdo your sessions or whatever you're practicing. If whatever you are practicing is really repetitive and requires a lot of energy, a lot of speed, it's really important not to dull the horse and to bore them to death with the same drills. So what I found that really helps with Stella is to keep our practices really short, actually. So usually around a half an hour. But by keeping our sessions nice and short, quick and snappy, it creates more anticipation for her, because she can see the light at the end of the tunnel and she wants to run to that point, because she wants to be able to go eat grass and get an apple and go for a walk and all the things that she enjoys. So I can't force her to love barrel racing. I can't force her to love jumping or pole bending. I'm not going to be delusional and think that she loves her job. You can't make a horse love these things, and you'll never know if they actually like doing them. But the goal is to get them to do them with a lot of enthusiasm and motivation. And so by doing that, you need to give them something that they can look forward to doing. So by keeping your sessions short, for one, helps your horse retain the information that you just learned. And for two, it keeps them from getting burnt out and overdone on whatever it is you're practicing. The best way to create a sluggish horse is to burn them out. So I really try to keep my sessions short and sweet. Doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether I'm barrel racing, pole bending, practicing jumping, whatever. I try to keep it within, you know, half an hour to 45 minutes or whatever. And within that half an hour to 45-minute workout, I actually like to keep my sessions somewhat slow. Like, I don't like to force a lot of energy on my horse that entire time. I think that slow and precise work is a lot more helpful than trying to do everything with a lot of speed the entire time. And by keeping your horse slow and practicing slow, you're actually building up more energy and anticipation into them to go a little bit faster every time. So obviously when you go to practice the barrel pattern, you start at a walk and you mosey around the barrel pattern very slowly, and then the next time you go with a little bit more energy, and then the next time you trot, and you trot a couple times and you work your kinks out around the barrels, and you do that a couple times, and then you go for a slow canter. And every time I pick up the speed a little bit, I can feel her pulling me a little bit more. Instead of me having to push her all the way through, it's her wanting to go a little bit faster. And usually by the end of our 30-45-minute session, I can really feel her giving it a lot of energy without me having to put a lot of energy into her. And then it doesn't matter if we end on a good note, if we had a really good clean run. I'm gonna call it good after she gives it a lot of energy, because I want to encourage and reward that kind of energy. So by allowing her to be done and going and doing whatever she wants, which is probably just eating grass, even though she does that all day long. That's her thing, as you can tell. And so by the next session, she knows exactly what to do to be able to get what she wants, and so she's going to have a lot more motivation and energy to get there. So again, we're using that anticipation to help us out there, and by making short sessions, you're building up more anticipation. So to wrap this all up, to create a fast, motivated, speedy horse without whipping and kicking them, you need to create anticipation, motivation, and by making your sessions short, releasing pressure when they do the right thing, and encouraging the behavior that you want with rewards is going to really help you. I also want to mention the other tactics and things that you can do to get your horse to go forward with that aren't dramatic whipping and kicking, starfishing kind of thing. So there's voice commands, usually a kiss or a click, like kind of thing. There is body language. So when you want your horse to go forward, you sit up higher and you have this "we're going forward" energy. There is the leg pressure, where you squeeze with your legs and slowly work your way down to your heels. And usually when you're using the energy in your body to go forward, you're using the pressure in your legs and you're sitting up high, you are going to use your reins and you're going to put that energy into your reins. So you might notice when a barrel racer or jumper or whatever go to make their run, the first thing they do is they collect their reins. And you can tell that as soon as they collect their reins, the horse picks up its energy and it's like, okay, now we're doing something, because they are taking that energy in their body and they are signaling it through the reins. And they've also trained the horse that collection means forward. So you'll see a horse walking around pretty normal, and then they're like, okay, it's our turn to do our run. They're gonna pick up the reins, and suddenly the horse is going to be walking with a little bit more speed, because this is creating energy. So we use our body language. What we call body language is where you lift up the energy in your body. So you have this picture in your mind where you're going forward and you are putting that energy in your body. You have your pressure on your legs and you're squeezing all the way down to your heels. You're going to pick up the reins. They're gonna feel that energy. And if you're still needing more energy to go forward, if your horse is still not responding to that, then you can start applying a little bit more pressure, like tapping with your heels, or maybe pick up a whip or something, and you can swing it at their back end without whipping. You can tap them without whipping. You can swing it around without whipping. You can create the energy and get them to go forward without actually cracking it down on them. So Stella's basically asleep right now, so I'm going to use my energy and my reins, and I'm going to get her to go forward. Good girl. I didn't have to whip and I didn't have to kick to get her to go forward, and you can apply that same thing with getting them to run faster. You'll never convince me that whipping and kicking a horse is okay. You'll never convince me that a horse that is being whipped and kicked loves their job. I really hope that this video finds and helps a lot of people out, because it's something that I really wish I had when I was struggling with this problem. I feel like there's not a lot of information or people teaching the alternative ways of whipping and kicking. I think a lot of people resort to whipping and kicking because it's not taught alternatively, really. Like, it's hard to find any information on how to get energy out of your horse without whipping and kicking. So yeah, I thought I would just take everything that I've learned that has helped me out a lot and put it into one video, so hopefully it helps you guys out too. It's a lot more fun to ride a horse that is enthusiastic and you don't have to be pushing them the entire way. It's a lot more fun to have fun on your horse when they are also having fun. I think that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big like and subscribe. You can go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. My handle is sport.pony13, and I'll see you guys next week Sunday. Bye!